Next is Pratidin Manikade Burma, the scion of the royal family of Tripura, quit Congress in 2019 and founded the Indigenous Progressive Regional Alliance, or Tipra Motha, becoming a new ray of hope for the regional politics of the Northeast India. Tipra Motha is currently the largest opposition party in the Tripura Legislative Assembly. Affectionately known as Bubagra by his people, he stands as a vocal advocate for the rights of the indigenous Tripuri population in Tripura, actively championing their cause. Next is Mr. Samuel B. Jerua, chairman of the NASO, providing leadership and direction to the organization in the effort to address the concerns and aspirations of the entire northeastern states of India. Mr. Jerua. And lastly, Dr. Chamujjal Bhattacharya, as advisor of the NASO, who has been playing a crucial role in advocating for the collective interest of the northeastern states and the people for over the last 3.5 decades. Dr. Bhattacharya. Over to you, Sunit Kumar Bhuyan, who will also felicitate the guest. And I'm sure you have some strong questions to the panel, very, very strong panel. Thank you. As you know, this session will have definitely Q&A, 45 minutes discussion, and 15 minutes I would like to reserve for the question and answers. Do I have to remind them the numbers, or you know it? But still, it's my duty to flash the number on the screen. My colleagues will give you one more opportunity to note down the numbers. But remember, unlike that girl or the lady, please identify, otherwise it's difficult to find you out. The number is 93-870-67094. Over to Sunit.
Thank you, Vinala. Identity quest, unraveling the ethnic tapestry of Northeast India. আসলতে প্ৰতিটো ক্ষেত্ৰতেই এই কথাখিনি অত্যন্ত বেছি চৰ্চিত যে উত্তৰ পূব বৈষম্য ইত্যাদি বা অন্যান্য বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ কথাৰ লগতে এই যিখিনি আমাৰ উত্তৰ পূবক লৈ চৰ্চা চলি থাকে এই কথাখিনি অকণমান আজিৰ প্ৰেক্ষাপটত পতাৰ পোষকতা কৰিছোঁ। মই সঞ্জয়ৰ পৰা আৰম্ভ কৰিব বিচাৰিছোঁ। গোটেই কথাটো মই যদি এনেকৈ আপোনাক সোধোঁ যে আমাৰ যিখিনি ডাইভাৰ্চিটি আছে, has the diversity of Northeast India acted against its unity? বা গোটেই বিষয়টো যদি মই আপোনালোকৰ পৰা আৰম্ভ কৰিব খোজোঁ, এই কথাখিনি যে আমি আজি পাতিব লগা হৈছে, আপুনি কেনেকৈ আৰম্ভ কৰিব গোটেই বস্তুখিনি? বিশ্লেষণ আপোনাৰ কেনেকুৱা হ'ব? 5 minutes.
মোৰ অকল দুটা ৰিকুৱেষ্ট আছে। এটা হ'ল আমি যদি ইংৰাজীত কওঁ আমাৰ পেনেলিষ্টৰ কাৰণে অলপ সুবিধা হ'ব।
ঠিক আছে, ইংলিছতো তেখেতসকলে পাতিমেই, বাট আমাৰ
আমি যদি অসমত কথা পাতোঁ তেখেতে ভালকৈ ফ'ল' কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ। হয়, নোৱাৰে। সেইটো এটা। ছেকেণ্ডলি মোৰ এটা ৰিকুৱেষ্ট আছে, আমি চব যদি আমি উঠি পেলাই থিয় হৈ পেলাই 1 মিনিটৰ কাৰণে উই ৰিমেম্বাৰ the victims of Manipur, those who have fallen, and we remember them at this time as a way of supporting peace. So if we can all stand and just remember that this is part of the ethnic mosaic of the region, that we are sending a message from Delhi, all of us here, that we support peace in the region and in Manipur.
Okay. Thank you. Has the diversity of Northeast India
rather than
acted against unity?
see, unity partly comes through diversity, because you cannot have, if you have everybody who's of the same view or of the same group, if it's a monolith, then it's not really, there's no energy there. I think the fascinating part about the region we call the Northeast, I mean, I always said east of what and north of where, is the fact that we are very different. It's an administrator's nightmare and a scholar's delight. But the fact of the matter is, many of the issues, fundamental issues of land identity and community are integral to the process of identity formation. Yeah? And it is important that there is respect for the different ethnicities which are there. So it's not as if one group can dominate. It's very difficult in the Northeast for this. So the fact that there is such diversity acts as a, in a way, we're seeing it playing out in different parts of the region right now. It acts as a, in a way, a control against dominance by one group. And I think that's very important. That you need other voices, you need other communities to state their position and stake their claims.
Pradut, you are demanding for Tripura land. Is it the solution of the problem, Tripura? Demanding the separate state, or separate state can solve the problem of Tripuris?
Well, that's my point of view.
Yes.
If you have a better point of view, you can tell me the solution.
I want
We
your
have-
point
we-
of view.
we have
Defend
waited-
your point of view.
No. We have waited for 76 years to improve the condition of the indigenous native people of Tripura. In the last 76 years, we've had various governments, Congress, Janta Dal, Bharatiya Janata Party. But the problem of the indigenous people have not improved. In fact, more and more people have come across the border from Bangladesh, and the rights of the indigenous people have not been protected. So, no idea comes in isolation. Over the years, we have thought that this happened because administrative powers were no longer in our hands. That's why we are fighting for administrative power. Now, when people say it's a dream to think about a separate state, well, I did not invent that dream. That dream was invented when in the Constitution of India, Article 2 and 3 was written. You remove that and my dream will be over. But till the time you have told us that there is a right and you can demand that, I will demand. But my main objective is not to create a separate state, but to ensure the protection and the cultural identity of the indigenous people or the native people of Tripura, who you call Tiprasa. If that, then I'm willing to commit the same mistakes over and over again, because if you annihilate an entire community which has survived for such a long time in the name of larger unity, larger assimilation, then you're actually assimilation in the name of annihilation is something I'm not willing to accept. Should the indigenous people of Tripura speak out? Absolutely. In a democracy, everybody has a right to speak out. We have a view. If the wise thinkers of India, the great men of India, have a better point of view, please give us a solution. But you cannot tell us that do not ask for your rights, do not protect your next generation by looking at the larger global context of India. You protect us. In diversity, there is unity. You cannot have unity by killing other people's language, their culture, the way of life, and say, oh no, this is the way you should go ahead. That is something which, as a person who was born in a democratic India, I'm unwilling to accept. So that is my view.
Sabuzullah, মই অকণমান পিছত আহিম আপোনাৰ ওচৰলৈ। মই Samuel, first of all, Samuel, I'm thankful to you to come. According to your point of view, why are the indigenous people of Northeast India are still advocating their rights, for their rights? Still, why are the indigenous communities of Northeast India still advocating for their rights?
Thank you, Sunit, for the question. Well, as we all know, since most of us are from the northeastern part of India, mostly in the audience are from Assam and a few from other states. Well, as indigenous peoples, we are still fighting, we are still advocating for rights. As the Raja of Tripura has rightly pointed out, that we have to keep on advocating for our rights, but the question arises, why? This dates back to history. When I was sitting here, I was looking at the pictures here, photos. We could see the photos of the British officers with the help of the Indian soldiers controlling India for more than 200 years. And the chief from the Khasi Hills, Tirat Singh, in 1829 fought against the British. It lasted for 4 years, but unfortunately the Khasis were defeated. And similar chief and kings have fought against the British. Right from that time, the early rebellions were there in mainland India and also in the northeastern part of India. And even after attaining independence, the indigenous peoples of northeast India are still not feeling safe in this vast mainland of India. We are a population, the northeast, the indigenous peoples of the northeast, including everyone, are more than 5 crores compared to the present population of India, which is 135 crores. We are just a drop in the ocean. And if we stop advocating for our rights, and if we stop fighting for our rights, and if we stop fighting for our rights to protect our identity, to preserve our identity, then our future generation will become like the Red Indians in North America. And that is why, till today, due to the successive policies of the government of India, not giving us adequate measures to protect, to preserve our identity, that's why the indigenous people, still today, we have to struggle, fighting for our rights, advocating for our rights. We have seen in the northeastern part of India, the recent imposition of the Citizenship Amendment Act. With the overwhelming opposition of the indigenous peoples of the northeast of India, still the government of India went ahead and imposed that CAA in the whole of the northeastern region. And but only due to the opposition of the indigenous peoples of the northeast, some areas were exempted, like the ILP rule states and the 6th schedule areas. But the rest of the northeast, CAA is being implemented. This is just another instance of political injustice that the government of India is perpetrating on the indigenous peoples of the northeastern region. And so many instances, right from independence of 1947 till 2023, many instances of political injustice in which we name out will take such a long time. So that is why the indigenous peoples of the northeast are still not feeling safe, are still not feeling secure. That's why we have to keep advocating for our rights, for the safety, the protection, and the upliftment of the indigenous peoples of the northeastern region.
Sabuzullah, আপোনাৰ ওচৰলৈ আহিছোঁ। যদিবা উত্তৰটো আপুনি অসমীয়া ইংৰাজীত মিলাই দিলে মোৰ ভাল লাগিব। মই টেলিকাষ্ট পাৰপজটো অকণমান চাব লাগিব যিহেতু। তেতিয়াৰ পৰা তেতিয়াৰ পৰা এতিয়ালৈকে সাত ভনী ভাগ হ'ল। 200তকৈ বেছি আমাৰ ৰিকগনাইজড ট্ৰাইবছ উত্তৰ পূবত আছে। কিন্তু প্ৰতিটো মুহূৰ্ততে আমাৰ এই ধৰণৰ কুৱেষ্টটো আহি পৰে। মই গোটেই বিষয়টো আপোনাৰ বিশ্লেষণ প্ৰথম আপোনাৰ পৰা বিচাৰিছোঁ।
প্ৰথমতে প্ৰতিনিধিমক ধন্যবাদ জনাইছোঁ আজি বিষয়টো আইডেণ্টিটি কুৱেষ্ট and revealing the ethnic tapestry of Northeast India. Ethnic identity quest or tapestry. এই গীতা কথাটোতে গোটেই বিষয়টো সোমাই আছে আকৌ আমি যদি অলপ বহলকৈ যদি চাবলৈ যাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে আমি আইডেণ্টিটিৰ প্ৰশ্ন দি কুৱেশ্যন অফ আইডেণ্টিটিৰ কথা যদি চাবলৈ যাওঁ পৰিচয়ৰ প্ৰশ্ন যদি চাবলৈ যাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে প্ৰি ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেঞ্চ পিৰিয়ড আৰু পষ্ট ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেঞ্চ পিৰিয়ড দুটা পাৰ্ট হ'ব এইটো প্ৰি ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেঞ্চ পিৰিয়ডতো আমাৰ নৰ্থ ইষ্টৰ এথনিক বিভিন্ন খিলঞ্জীয়া মানুহৰ পৰিচয় ৰেখাৰ বিষয়টো কেনেকুৱা আছিল তেতিয়া আছিল প্ৰিন্সেছ ষ্টেট আছিল ত্ৰিপুৰা খাচী জয়ন্তীয়াৰ কথা আমি জানো মণিপুৰৰ কথা আমি জানো আৰু যেতিয়া ইয়াণ্ডাবু সন্ধি হ'ল তেতিয়া এটা সন্ধি হ'ল তাৰপিছত আকৌ আহিল স্বাধীনতা আন্দোলন স্বাধীনতা আন্দোলনত মহাত্মা গান্ধীৰ আহ্বানত স্বাধীনতা আন্দোলনত সকলোৱে অংশগ্ৰহণ কৰিলে তেতিয়া কি হ'ল তেতিয়া ভাৰতৰ লগত সংলগ্ন হ'বলৈ কিছুমান এগ্ৰিমেণ্ট হ'ল আৰু সেই এগ্ৰিমেণ্টবোৰ কেনেকুৱা ধৰণে হ'ল কোন সময়ত হ'ল ত্ৰিপুৰা কোন সময়ত হ'ল মণিপুৰ কোন সময়ত হ'ল আমি যে কৈ থাকোঁ নৰ্থ ইষ্ট কিন্তু আমি লগাৰ সময়বোৰ বেলেগ বেলেগ মণিপুৰ সময় লগাৰ সময় বেলেগ ত্ৰিপুৰা সময় বেলেগ খাচী জয়ন্তীয়াৰ কথাও বেলেগ আমি কেতিয়াও পৰাধীন নাছিলোঁ আজি আমি এই কথাটো মনত ৰখা উচিত যে উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ খিলঞ্জীয়া মানুহ কেতিয়াও পৰাধীন নাছিল কিন্তু যেতিয়া দেশ স্বাধীনৰ সময়ত যেতিয়া বিভাজনৰ যেতিয়া সময় আহিল দেশ বিভাজনৰ সময় আমাক তেতিয়া গ্ৰুপ চিট দি দিয়া হ'ল পাকিস্তানৰ লগত দিয়া হ'ল তেতিয়াও এটা আইডেণ্টিটি কুৱেশ্যন দেৰ ৱাজ এ কুৱেশ্যন অফ আইডেণ্টিটি আৰু তেতিয়া উই হ্যাড টু ফাইট তেতিয়াও আমি যুদ্ধ দিবলগীয়া হৈছিল যে আমাৰ পৰিচয় ৰক্ষা আমি কেনেকৈ কৰিব পাৰোঁ ৰক্ষা হ'ল থাকি গ'লোঁ আজি যি তাৰিখত আমি ইয়াত আলোচনা কৰি আছোঁ সেই সময়ত আজিৰ তাৰিখত আমি অৰুণাচলৰ কথা যদি পাতোঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে আজিৰ তাৰিখত খিলঞ্জীয়া অৰুণাচলীয়ে আমি দেশৰ হৈ কিন্তু চাইনাত এছিয়ান গেমছত যাব পৰা নাই এইটো হ'ল আমাৰ আজি পৰিস্থিতি আৰু আমাৰ এই পৰিস্থিতিৰ এই পৰিচয় ৰক্ষাৰ কাৰণে কিন্তু ভাৰত চৰকাৰ সফল হোৱা নাই এইটো যদি আমি বাতাবৰণত যদি আমি আলোচনাটো যদি আমি আগুৱাই লৈ যাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে দেখা পাম আৰু দুটা কথা উইদিন নৰ্থ ইষ্ট উইদিন দি ষ্টেটছ এণ্ড উইদিন দি নৰ্থ ইষ্ট উইদিন দি ষ্টেটছ উই হেভ ডিফাৰেণ্ট এথনিক কমিউনিটিজ এণ্ড ইটছ কমিউনিটি হেভ দেয়াৰ অ'ন লেংগুৱেজ অ'ন কালচাৰ আমাৰ সকলোৰে বেলেগ বেলেগ ভাষা আছে পৰিচয় আছে প্ৰত্যেকৰে বেলেগ বেলেগ উইদিন দি ষ্টেটছ among all ethnic groups we have own language own culture own customs that is one part and within Northeast we have a different approach though we are politically divided into 7 states but mentally emotionally we are one that is the spirit of Northeast that is the spirit of ethnic community of the Northeast India that is the reality আপুনি চাব অসম উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ প্ৰত্যেকখন ৰাজ্যৰ বেলেগ বেলেগ প্ৰতিটো খিলঞ্জীয়া মানুহৰ প্ৰতিখন ৰাজ্যত বেলেগ বেলেগ জাতি জনগোষ্ঠী বসবাস কৰে প্ৰত্যেকৰে বেলেগ বেলেগ চিন্তা বেলেগ বেলেগ সংস্কৃতি বেলেগ বেলেগ ভাষা কিন্তু উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চল বুলি কোৱাৰ লগে লগে বেলেগ অন দি আদাৰ হেণ্ড ইফ উই ডিছকাছ এবাউট দি borders see there is a chronological journey though the government of India had divided the 7 states into 7 states politically they have divided this Northeast into 7 states but they have failed to earmark the borders so there is a tension in the border area so somebody is discussing that Northeast is not united we are mentally we are emotionally we are one but despite of the failure of the government of India to earmark the interstate border what the ethnic people are doing there in the border areas the people residing in the both sides of the border areas, we are realizing that yes, we should live like a good neighbors. So we are maintaining we are adopting a formula of peoples to peoples contact and peoples to peoples relationship in the border areas. That is the unique character of the people of Northeast India. So coming to the other points, the question of identity. The other panelists. We have discussed about the question of identity. The identity is a question of influx. The question of influx is the main threat to the identity of the indigenous people of Northeastern India. See, the whole international border is porous. If the government of India can seal the Indo-Pak border within 3 years, why not in case of Northeast India? Why not? That is number one.
Exactly.
On the other hand, if you see, Maharaja is there, the population of Tripura is 40 lakhs. Among 40 lakhs, around 15 lakhs perhaps, is the indigenous Tripuris. You see the fate of Assam, you see the fate of Meghalaya, the other states. See, the Supreme Court of India, I'm just repeating, I'm always repeating that the verdict of the Supreme Court of India. Somebody may like it, somebody may not like it. But what Supreme Court of India had said, the Supreme Court of India had said, due to large-scale influx of illegal foreigners from Bangladesh, there is external aggression and internal disturbance in the state of Assam. It's a state, it is a directive, it is a judgment of the Supreme Court of India. So the government of India is keeping mum. It's an external aggression due to influx of illegal foreigners from Bangladesh. There is a question, how many numbers? There is a question, there is a debate. Somebody is criticizing us. What is the number? The Supreme Court of India has said due to large-scale influx of illegal foreigners from Bangladesh, there is external aggression and internal disturbance in the state of Assam. যদি এই কথাটোকে যদি গুজৰাটত ক'লেহেঁতেন, যদি গুজৰাটৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত যদি সুপ্ৰিম কোৰ্টে ক'লেহেঁতেন যে ব্যাপক সংখ্যক অবৈধ পাকিস্তানী নাগৰিকৰ প্ৰব্ৰজনৰ ফলত গুজৰাটৰ খিলঞ্জীয়া মানুহৰ পৰিচয়ৰ প্ৰতি প্ৰশ্ন আহিছে, তেতিয়া গুজৰাট চৰকাৰে কি কৰিলেহেঁতেন? তেতিয়া আজিৰ দেশৰ প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী গৃহমন্ত্ৰীয়ে কি কৰিলেহেঁতেন? We have a question. We have a question. And see, it's a question of identity. Because we have 29 tribal belts and blocks in Assam. It is encroached by illegal Bangladeshis. Forest land encroached by illegal Bangladeshis. Whole demographic pattern has changed. This is the reality of Assam, Tripura, and Meghalaya also, Indian Nagaland, and Arunachal Pradesh also. I can cite one or more example of Guwahati High Court. What Guwahati High Court had said? Guwahati High Court had said the illegal foreigners, they have enrolled their name in the electoral roll, they became kingmaker, and due to the influx of the illegal foreigners, the identity of the indigenous people, both Hindus and Muslims, they became minority in their motherland. This is the reality. This is a question of identity. And Sunit Bhuya, I'd like to cite one more example. See, from Delhi to mainland India. See, there is a tapestry. We are discussing about unveiling of the tapestry. We are not closing our doors. Because thousands of students, they are studying in different parts of the country, in Delhi, in Pune, in Bangalore. It's a good sign that our students from Northeast, they're coming out for higher studies. Because we need that exposure. We need also economic development. That door should be open, but without compromising with the identity of the indigenous people of Northeast. That bottom line should be very clear. Because our students, they are competing. We must grow economically. There is a saying, earlier it was a actist, now lookist, now it is actist. We do not know where is the actist. Whether Northeast will be the corridor for the exploitation or it will be economic hub for the economic development of Northeast. That is also very much important. Now, there are many points during our discussion, we'll elaborate, but I will show one map. I must say, because I must supplement, the expression made by our chairman, the last injustice by the government of India. ASPA, we know, that is the burden from the government of India. We are discussing about the influx. Assam Accord was there. There are many discussions also. We are asking constitution safeguards also. Now the government of India, they are imposing ASPA, they are imposing CA on the people of Northeast. Why? It's a CA is a protector of the illegal Bangladeshis. Now when in the first initiative, when CAB was imposed, because of the unity of the Northeastern people, they could not pass it in the parliament. But the present government, they have passed it. And with the exception. What is the exception? They have exempted the inner light cohort areas of Northeast. That is Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, they are exempted. They have exempted 6 scheduled cohort areas. That is more than 90% of Meghalaya, more than 70% perhaps of Tripura. BTR areas of Assam and his hill districts of Assam are exempted. Exactly. So my question in this conclave, If the sky is bad for the inland covered areas of northeast and 6 schedule covered areas of northeast, how this sky can be good for the other parts of the northeastern region? I'll just take 1 second. I'm just carrying a map. So this is a map of northeast. The whole red area is how this can be good for the other parts of northeastern region. So this is injustice. It's a threat to the identity of the northeastern people. So the government of India may think that, okay, we are applying a divisive politics, okay, 6 little areas are exempted, inland covered areas are exempted, the other parts of Assam and parts of Tripura and parts of Meghalaya will suffer. No. From this conclave, we like to tell the central government, yes, politically we are divided, but mentally, emotionally, we are one, and for the protection of the interest of the indigenous people, we are united. And for the protection of the identity of the indigenous people of northeastern region, we will carry this journey. That is, the identity quest will continue till we get the constitutional safeguard. As Raja said, we need constitutional safeguard for the people of northeast.
Exactly. Actually, আপোনাৰ কথাখিনিতে মোৰ পৰৱৰ্তী প্ৰশ্নটো যিটো প্ৰশ্ন, my next question is going to Sanjay Hazarika and Bobagraj, the same question. What's your, first I want to, Sanjay da, your analysis about the role of central government to mitigate such kind of damages of Northeast India, problems of Northeast India, your analysis of regarding the role of Government of India, basically post-independent.
Sunit, that's a very big question.
Big question.
It takes long time to answer these things, but I want to pick up on a few points
Okay.
Samujal mentioned, because I am in agreement with some, but I am not in agreement with others. For instance, I think he is absolutely right when he talks about CAA exemption, because if you look at the map that he showed, the critical area is the population is largest in the areas which are not exempted from CAA. That's the test. য'ত মানে আমাৰ সংখ্যা বেছি আছে তাত CAA ইমপ্লিমেণ্ট কৰিছে so the CAA is not applicable in the peripheral areas, but not in the main population areas.
Right. If the sky is bad for the other parts.
No. So that's basically my point. That it's strategic. It's not just, that's one. And I'm very glad you made the point about the 85 Accord being the landmark for migration. There was a commitment given in that about 71, which Biren Bosho and others who were associated with ASU at that time are very familiar with, and you were also. But we need to make a slight difference between illegal migration and illegal settlement. Like illegal settlement on forests can be by people who are Indians. Illegal migration has to do with foreigners coming in. And one of the problems that we face is that challenges that we face is like a contradiction that governments are saying at the center, all governments are saying that we must cooperate with Bangladesh. Bangladesh is our neighbor and are very necessary for security, for economic trade. We should build better relations with Bangladesh. Then in that case, how can we keep saying that the problem is in Bangladesh? You see the political problem and the strategic problem. It's somewhat different. So I think we need to think about that also, because it's not as if everybody who's walking around in Assam or anywhere else says, I'm a Bangladeshi kind of thing. No? So there can be Hindus, there can be Buddhists, there can be Muslims, all communities who've come in over the past. I think one of the challenges, as far as your question is concerned, the Northeast and the central government, is a very short answer. It's actually in the title of this session, unraveling. Unraveling means to fall apart.
Exactly.
Not come together.
Okay.
So that's the situation you're facing. Even if a small part is damaged, যেনেকৈ আমাৰ carpet আছে, যদি এটা সেকশন যদি ফাটি যায় বা এৰি যায় সেইটো আমি ৰাফু কৰোঁ বা ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰোঁ বা নতুন কাৰ্পেট লৈ আনো চ' সেইটো তেনেকুৱাকৈ হোৱা নাই সেইটো কিয় because everything is in such a mess things are so contradictory as Somojal pointed out contradictory you do one thing you do something else to contradict it and I think that's very important for us to understand that if we keep doing these contradictions ultimately it will be a total mess everywhere you know there are different trajectories which are happening at the same time in politics and that's not it doesn't lend to it doesn't lend itself to safety or to stability. So I think it's what he said, although I disagree with some of the points, I think the heart of it lies in are we unraveling or are we binding? And you can't bind people with glue. You have to bind them through action on the ground and not just roads and bridges, but also through your communication with them in person and by ensuring that the rule of law prevails. You know, that's at the heart of it. And we are seeing, you know, and this is my last point here, we are seeing time and again that the rule of law is not prevailing, that constitutional rights are not prevailing. So that's where the central government, whether it's any government, doesn't matter the politics, that's where its failure needs to be called out and rule of law established.
Bubagra, actually, now you are a political person. So I want...
I was always a political person.
Sorry?
I was always a political person.
Political person. What's your point of view regarding the rule of government of India? My question is same. Especially the Northeast region.
See, first of all, I think, you know, I mean, I've heard Samujal speak, I've seen Samuel speak as well. Of course, Sanjida. We all grew up reading his Strangers in the Mist. The fundamental problem is our population. You see the population of Sikkim. You see the population, I'm talking about the native people, the population of Meghalaya, the Khasis, the Garos, the Jaintiyas. You see the population of Mizos, Nagas. And then you pass a law where, if you see, Assam has a boundary with Bangladesh, they're not exempted. Tripura has a boundary with Bangladesh, not exempted. Meghalaya has a large boundary with Bangladesh, not exempted in Ka. But then you exempt Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim, which has no boundary with Bangladesh. Why is this happening? Vote bank. Now, I believe Rahul Gandhi was here, he's a friend of mine. This vote bank politics was played by Congress. Now it's being played by BJP. If you want to settle people, I'm a practicing Hindu myself. I understand the pain and hurt of what happened to Hindu Bengalis, the Chakmas, in Bangladesh, East Pakistan. But if you want to settle them, of course settle them in parts of Northeast. We have already taken enough people. But if you want to further settle them, please keep them in Gujarat. You have a huge population in Gujarat. But how can you accept and how can you tell a population to take in double the time of its own population from another country and say that there will be no demographic changes? You want to settle them? Please settle them in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, settle them in Uttar Pradesh. But no, you only want to put it in a certain area because you are playing vote bank politics. You come out with a policy where states like Mizoram, states like Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, has never accepted a single Bangladeshi in their soil. But you reimpose the law on a land which is already taken, like Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, which has taken many lakhs and lakhs of people in their state. And you say, no, you have to do it again. But states which have never taken in a single discriminated Hindu, Bengali, or a Buddhist, or a Christian, you tell them you're exempted. What is the message you're sending to us, 3 states? Vote bank politics. What we are talking about is political contradiction. You say that I'm in politics. I'm not a politician. I'm a politician by default. I'm fighting for my community. My party is not important. I left my Congress party, which my father and my mother were in, and I was a sitting president on the issue of NRC and CAA. I left my party as a sitting president. For me, party is not important. For me, jati is important. Because if you can protect your community, you will be remembered. But if you are a spokesperson for a political party, the day you are dead or the day you are irrelevant, somebody else will come and do it. इनका नेहरू का सपना, इंदिरा जी का सपना, अब मोदी जी का सपना. अरे हमारा सपना के बारे कौन बात कर रहा है भाई? So my point is, all these things are fine. But have we, all of us in this room, have we even considered the level of leadership we have created? There was a time when you had Bordoloi, you even had Hiteshwar Saikia, you had Lalthan Haula, you had S.C. Jamir, Captain William Sangma, B.B. Lingdo, Hopping String. Today, what is the leadership we are creating? Have we created leadership which goes to Delhi and speaks about our problem? Or do we have leaders who go to Delhi and say, sir, yes sir, it will be done sir? So, when it's very easy to criticize Delhi, but we should also learn what is the quality of leadership we have thrown. Samujal very rightly said that CA, we all protested. Arey, sab nikle. Everybody came. Somebody even dressed up like Lachit Barphukan with a cap and all came and gave speeches. Who did you all vote for? You voted for the party which passed the bill. So what is this unity? In the end, we have to also ask questions to ourselves. We take enough money before election and then change our point of view. We, the northeastern tribal hill states, they say we are united, we are tribals. The day Mizoram was exempted, they forgot about Meghalaya. The day Arunachal was exempted, they forgot about Asti Prasas. So where is this unity? Is unity only in coming to Delhi and hanging around North Campus and having momos and playing guitars? Because that's how they stereotype us. अरे आप तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट के हो, अरे चाइना प्रॉब्लम है, अरे मेरा चाइना कहाँ प्रॉब्लम है, मेरा प्रॉब्लम तो बांग्लादेश है. लखनऊ is closer to China than Agartala. So, have we become so spineless that we cannot stand up? So when Sanjay Da comes and he speaks, we should also have the ability to listen to him and look internally and see where our mistakes are. Jingoism is great, rhetoric is great, but we have to also internally look why we are failing our people, why we are failing our next generation. Are we sending a clear message? We are not. And for that, if you want to bring in change, you have to bring in character. And character will only come with self-belief. Today, what we are lacking as politicians, as industrialists, as TV channels, journalists, and civil society is, we have no longer got the self-belief that we can counter the Indian narrative, which may not be, many of them is in our favor, but some we have to stand up to them and give them a clearer picture. We have not done that. I think that is the fundamental problem which we should try to address. Not for ourselves. Hum log ka time to gaya. I think we are all, though you all are students, we are very old. We are all. But that generation sitting there, we have to fight for the next generation. What we are doing is we are fighting for the next election, not for the next generation. That is where the problem is.
I want to ask this question. What is the future of regionalism in Tripura?
Future of?
Regionalism.
What is this regionalism and nationalism and patriotism?
No.
These are all isms.
Isms.
You don't live in a vacuum. What we want, and it's not Tripura only. I have lived enough. I speak Samuel's language. I understand, I've traveled extensively across Bodoland, Karbi Anglong, Dimasa Hasao. I have a lot of Assamese friends. There is no regionalism. what is your self-interest? Our self-interest has to be protected. And if you want to protect your self-interest, you have to rise above party politics. The guy in BJP, the guy in Congress, the guy in Maitipra Motha has to speak less about the leaders and about the people's problem and how to solve those problems, how to bring in solution. Today, you go to Tamil Nadu, they will speak more about the Dravidian problem than the DMK, AIDMK, Congress, BJP problem. They speak about the problems of the people. What we are doing is we are talking about our leaders. We are talking about our parties. We are talking about a symbol. So the future of the indigenous people of Tripura will improve the day Congress, BJP, Tipra Motha, IPFT, Communist Party speak for the interest and for the constitutional protection of the indigenous people and not for the leaders and not we can bring change. Nobody can bring change. Legislative, constitutional changes have to be brought. Then only we will survive. Not the party, the people.
This Samuel, lots of questions already comes. And মই বহুত প্ৰশ্ন যেহেতু আহিছে মই খুব বেছি দীঘলীয়া নকৰি মই আকৌ এবাৰ জামিন আল্লাহ তাৰপিছত মই প্ৰশ্ন উত্তৰলৈ সমজুল্লাহ এই কথাখিনি কি যে এতিয়া আমি কি কৰিব পাৰিম ইয়াৰ পিছত কি এই দিনটোৰ পৰা ধৰক সকলোখিনি কথা সমস্যাত আমি ভুগি আছোঁ কেনেকৈ বস্তুখিনি আমি ল'ব পাৰিম অধিকাৰ সাব্যস্ত কৰিব পাৰিম যে ৰাইটছ বেচিকেলি বুবাগ্ৰা said about the rights আমি কেনেকৈ ল'ব পাৰোঁ way to কি হ'ব পাৰে
See, there is solution. সমাধানৰ সূত্ৰৰ কথা কোৱাৰ আগত আমি এটা কথা পাহৰি যাব নালাগিব যে এই যে আমাৰ পৰিচয় ৰক্ষাৰ যিটো সংগ্ৰাম এই পৰিচয় ৰক্ষাৰ সংগ্ৰামত দুটা ধৰাত কিন্তু সংগ্ৰামখন চলি আছে we must appreciate one non-violent peaceful movement one armed struggle that we will have to appreciate we may not agree with the part of the movement, but two parallel lines, duta samaন্তৰাল line গৈ আছে. And for that, we want that the peace process should continue so that an acceptable and honorable solution can be achieved. That is one part. কিয় আমাৰ মাজৰে এছাম গৈছে অহিংস পন্থাৰ প্ৰতি যেতিয়া ন্যায় পোৱা নাই অসম আন্দোলনৰ কথা ভাবক 83 চনৰ পিছত যিটো অত্যাচাৰ ৰাজত্ব আমি পাহৰিব নোৱাৰো আকৌ এটা বেলেগ ফালে যাওঁ মিজোৰামত দেশৰ এখন ৰাজ্য আছে য'ত বম্বাৰ্ড কৰি পেলাই মিজো খিলঞ্জীয়া মানুহক দমন কৰিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰা হৈছিল এইবোৰ কথাটো আমি পাহৰি যাব নোৱাৰো এইবোৰ পৰিচয় ৰক্ষাৰ সংগ্ৰাম আছিল গতিকে আজিও আমি বিচাৰো যে সশস্ত্ৰ পন্থাত যিসকল গৈছে তেওঁলোকৰ লগত এটা নিৰৱচ্ছিন্ন আলোচনাৰ জৰিয়তে কেন্দ্ৰীয় চৰকাৰে গ্ৰহণযোগ্য সমাধানৰ পাঠ উলিয়াওক এক আমি যেহেতু অহিংস পন্থাত আমি আছো ইয়াত সমাধানৰ উত্তৰবোৰ কি সমাধানৰ উত্তৰ মই আকৌ কৈছো আজি যেটো টপিকটো অলপ বহল আমি এই কথা ক'ব যোৱা নাই যে আমাৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালী অসম উত্তৰবাঞ্চলৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালী বাহিৰলৈ পঢ়িবলৈ আহিছে ভাল কথা আমাৰ অসমৰ উত্তৰবাঞ্চলৰ উন্নয়ন হ'ব লাগে ভাল কথা তাৰ কাৰণে আমি খুলি দিছো দুৱাৰ but not at the cost of the identity of the indigenous people of north east সেই কথাটো আমি পাহৰি যাব নালাগিব কাৰণ আজি unrevealing the tapestry বুলি কোৱা হৈছে মই আকৌ ৰিপিট কৰিছো যে এই যে এই মানে লুকিছ পলিসি কথা যে কৈ আছে এক্টিভ পলিসি কথাটো কোৱাৰ লগে লগে আমাৰ উত্তৰবাঞ্চল ইকনমিক হাব হ'ব লাগিব এইটো কথাও তো আমাৰ নতুন প্ৰজন্মই চাব খোজে নিউ জেনাৰেশন want to see what is the active policy coming to the solution part it's a question of influx so how we can solve it seal the border like Indo-Pak border, seal the Indo-Bangla border within a stipulated time frame. Update NRC. Have a list of citizens. In Assam, it was prepared as per Assam Accord, monitored by the Supreme Court of India due to failure of the governments, both governments, all party governments. But we are not achieving the goal. But it is the duty of the governments. Supreme Court monitored the whole process. Supreme Court মনিটৰ হে কৰিছে কিন্তু কাৰ্যকৰী কৰিছে চৰকাৰে আজিলৈকে আমি পোৱা নাই গতি উত্তৰবাঞ্চলৰ হাতখন ৰাজ্যৰ কাৰণে এনআৰসি হ'ব লাগে মডেলিটি বেলেগ হ'ব পাৰে নম্বৰ 2 নম্বৰ 3 আসামৰ কাৰণে আসাম একৰ্ড উইদিন এ স্পেচিফিকেটেড টাইম ফ্ৰেম ইমপ্লিমেন্ট হ'ব লাগে নম্বৰ 4 আমাক সাংবিধানিক ৰক্ষা কবচ দিব লাগে অসমৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত কা আনাৰ পিছত গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট অফ ইণ্ডিয়াই নিজে গঠন কৰা উচ্চস্তৰীয় কমিটি বিপ্লৱ শৰ্মা কমিটি ৰিপৰ্ট এটা পঢ়ি আছে 2 বছৰ হৈ গ'ল so the government of India had formed this committee but they are not implementing their committee and during that time PM and Home said we are waiting for the result we are waiting for the report is there with them implement it so for whole of northeast we need a special constitutional status for the northeastern region with right over land and natural resources that for that also we need a constitutional so to say constitutional approach eti ami movementor kotha koi asu raja he said that is we have struggled a lot Sam also said so there is a long movement peaceful movement since 860s we have seen the movements eti amar ji projonmo aji jibur projonmo ya jibur chhatro chhatri ase teloke okhom andolon dekha nai telokor mak detake okhom andolon korisil eti ako ka anti ka homoy telokor andolon jurpiai poril eti ako amar identity karone ako projonmo andolon kori thakibo lagibo niki tar karone liba সাংবিধানিক ব্যবস্থা to ki 371A is applicable for Nagaland they have right over land and natural resources Mizoram 371G they have the right over land Assam we have 371B nothing is there nothing is there yeah Sikkim 371F so everything should be constitutional in case of Assam everything should be put in 371B যাতে কোনো সরকার দিল্লিত পরিবর্তন হলো ডিসপিউট পরিবর্তন হলো আমার সাংবিধানিক আমার রক্ষা কবচ যাতে হাতৰ পা তুলি কাহি নিব নোৱাৰে আমাৰ গুটি উত্তৰ অঞ্চলৰ গুটি আমাক এটা সাংবিধানিক আমাক ৰক্ষা কবচ লাগে ভূমি আৰু সম্পদৰ অধিকাৰ লৈ যত আমাৰ পৰিচয় ৰক্ষা হ'ব পাৰে আৰু যেটো সাংবিধানিক হ'ব পাৰে সংবিধান সংশোধন কৰি হলো এই ব্যৱস্থা সংবিধান আছেই কেৱল এই প্ৰভিজন বিলাক তাত অন্তৰ্ভুক্ত কৰিব লাগে যাতে ভৱিষ্যতৰ দিনত আমাৰ এমপিৰ সংখ্যা কম হলেও যাতে আমাৰ অধিকাৰ যাতে কাঢ়ি ল'ব নোৱাৰে তেনে ব্যৱস্থা নিশ্চিতভাৱে কৰিব লাগে
Can I just say one thing? I'm sorry, Sam. Okay. Sam, this is regarding us, basically. You see, delimitation is going to take place. Okay. It is very clear that, politically I'm speaking, Sam, you should elaborate on this. Once delimitation takes place, it is very well understood that the seats in North India will grow by a big proportion. In South India, the population is not increasing so much, it's going to remain more or less static or a bit more or a bit less. In Northeast, we are going to go even below the present average, the percentage. So what is this India doing? Hum do hamare do. Lekin you are rewarding hum do hamare 50. The fact is, even in the Constitution of India, if we are politically irrelevant, our MLAs and MPs don't matter in the national because we cannot influence. Tomorrow Uttar Pradesh will decide who's going to be the next Prime Minister. Why will they come and ask us what we need? So it is very important that this also discourse is put because sometimes representation cannot be based on population. It has to be based on geography. It has to be based on sensitivity. It has to be based on culture. What we are doing is we are only rewarding. Then you finish. We are 2.5 trillion economy. बहुत बड़ा चीज. Wow, 2.5 trillion economy. China's 16 trillion. China's population as much as ours is 8 times bigger. We want to become 5 trillion. Okay, make our population 200 crores. बन जाएगा. But then that is not the way to go ahead. You have to reward every part of India as an integral part of India, which is not happening. These are also questions which have to be addressed, not only by the government, but also by the young students and the next generation, and all of you all here. Sam, sorry I took this.
Chevel, actually I want to know from you about the NESO, Northeast Student Association, and you are the present chairman now. We saw already in different time, NESO played a very strong role in the crucial time of Northeastern India. And now, what is the rule of NESO? What will be the rule of NESO to sort out the problems of entire Northeast India, state versus state, like border problem, etc., etc. What will be the aims? What will be the agendas of NESO shortly?
Thank you. You asked a very interesting and very important question. Well, before the formation of Northeastern Organization in 1994, there was the NESCC, the Northeastern Coordination Committee, formed by the leaders of ASU, KSU, TSF, NSF, and also from the AMSU, and also from the MZP. And later it was rechristened to Northeastern Organization in 1994. Well, as NESO, it is a coordinating body in which all the office bearers of NESO are being nominated by the parent organization from each state. So it doesn't mean that I want to be a chairman of NESO. If my parent organization does not nominate my name to NESO, I could not become a member of NESO. And as the working principle of NESO, the aims and objectives of NESO is to foster peace, unity among the different indigenous peoples of the whole of the Northeastern region. I think you will agree with me that prior to 2000, in the early 90s and even in the late 90s, there were lots of ethnic clashes in the Northeastern region. Deadly clashes among the different communities in the Northeastern region. But I feel I should give credit to the past leaders of NESO through their hard work, through their dedication. We've been able to bridge the gap which the different ethnic communities of the Northeastern region earlier times were having. Through NESO, we've been able to bridge the gap and bring closer together. We could understand each other much better. And even in the border areas, earlier there used to be clashes in which people were killed. But with the intervention of the component organizations of NESO in those states, at least we could improve the relationship between people living in the border areas. Peoples to peoples dialogue were encouraged, were initiated, so that, because it's not the student organizations or the people who will decide the interstate border, it depends on the government. And we pressure the government that they should solve the interstate boundary dispute, and not only the interstate boundary dispute, even in a state where different ethnic communities are living, frictions will always arise. But through the NESO, through the consumer organizations, at least we could somehow bring the relationship closer together. But unfortunately, this year, the tragic incident happened in Manipur, in which the indigenous peoples of Manipur are fighting, are killing each other. We have visited Manipur twice. We've had discussions with all the communities in Manipur. And through NESO, we are appealing for peace and harmony in Manipur. And I feel that the government of India has a big role to play in bringing peace in Manipur. The people of Manipur, we met earlier, they came to visit to Shillong, they came to visit to Guwahati. Various leaders from all the different communities, what they want is peace. Not peace, but a semblance of normalcy. That is the level that the situation in Manipur has become to, that the people want a semblance of normalcy. So we urge upon the government of India, as students' organization, we are improving the relationship between different communities, between different ethnic communities. But the government of India has a big role to play in bringing about solution with the consultation with all the stakeholders, how to bring about a lasting peace in Manipur, and also to the different states of the Northeastern region. And I feel that the people of the Northeastern region, the ethnic people of Northeastern region, even though we are divided in so many ways. I remember a very old man when he said that the ethnic people of the Northeastern region are like a bunch of bamboo. When we are a bunch of bamboo, when they are a bunch of bamboo, when the wind comes, friction will come among them. You can hear the sound of friction. But if we try to outdo one another, if we try to become supreme over one another, then all the other bamboo, weaker bamboo, will break away, and only one bamboo will be left. And if the wind comes at that time, it can easily break that bamboo. So the ethnic communities of the Northeast are like a bunch of bamboos. Even though we might have differences, we might have friction among ourselves, but we should be able to solve our differences, our friction, so that when the wind comes, we can all sway together and not being uprooted by the wind or the storm. Thank you.
মই আধা ছেকেণ্ড ল'ব পাৰোঁ নেকি? আধা ছেকেণ্ড
কুৱেশ্যন এনচাৰ
কুৱেশ্যন এনচাৰ আহিবই। মই আধা ছেকেণ্ডত শেষ কৰিম।
ঠিক আছে।
আধা ছেকেণ্ডত শেষ কৰি মোৰ মাত্ৰ তিনিটা কথা। এটা কথা হ'ল যে ফ্ৰম দিছ কনক্লেভ, আমি এই কনক্লেভৰ পৰা উইড লাইক টু টেল দি চেণ্ট্ৰেল গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট, অল দি পলিটিকেল লিডাৰ্ছ অফ দি কাণ্ট্ৰি, অল দি ইণ্টেলেকচুৱেলছ অফ দি কাণ্ট্ৰি, আমি ভাৰত চৰকাৰ, দেশৰ সকলো ৰাজনৈতিক দলৰ নেতা, সকলো চিন্তাশীল ব্যক্তিক আমি ক'ব খোজোঁ, দে শুড এপ্ৰিচিয়েট, তেওঁলোকে বুজি পাব লাগিব যে কলিকতাৰ পিছতো দেশৰ এটা অংগ আছে, দেট ইজ নৰ্থ ইষ্ট। We'd like to tell the central government, all the national leaders and the intellectuals of the country, they should appreciate that there is a part of the country beyond Calcutta that is Northeast. Aru ek dekh ek niti, it is not applicable in Northeast. Hetu সকলে বুজি পোৱাটো উচিত। আৰু আনটো বিষয় হ'ল
I think I'm afraid, sir.
Yeah, fix it.
Because
within a friction of a second. হৈ গ'ল। ফ্ৰিকশ্যন অফ এ ছেকেণ্ড ক'বলগীয়া হ'লে যে এই যাত্ৰাটোৰ সম্পৰ্কত প্ৰতিদিন টাইমে ইয়াত কনক্লেভ পাতিলে আমি ভাল পালোঁ, কিন্তু ইয়াত যিসকল পলিচি মেকাৰ আছে তেওঁলোকে এই কথা উপলব্ধি কৰিব লাগিব যে যেতিয়ালৈকে আমাৰ পৰিচয় আমাৰ ৰক্ষা নহয় তেতিয়ালৈকে এই সংগ্ৰাম, এই কুৱেষ্ট এইটো অব্যাহত থাকিব।
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhattacharya. The question is, we have already exceeded a time zone, a time limit. Now there are many questions. I have seen about 17 of them. I would love to have as much as question, but don't make a long statement. So make a one-liner questions, then answer will be 1 or 2 liners, then you can have more questions. Otherwise, I will stop at 3. And the remaining 12, 14 people will be left out. So you decide. The first question goes to, very long question, make it a one-line, Sanskrit Soturi Zakir Hussain College. Shruti Sila Soikia, then you get ready, one-liner. Don't make a long one, I have to interrupt. And microphone get ready, sound, everything. So, quick one. Shruti, are you ready somewhere? Yeah, come over here this side. You go ahead. What happens to the mic? ये ले लो। Shruti, you also come forward so that the time is not wasted.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask a question. It was a very, firstly, I would like to say that it was a very insightful session with you all. And I got all the answers to my questions, but then also I would like to ask a question. In the last few years, we again have experienced the rise of conflicts in various areas due to our quest for our own ethnic identity. There have been demands for new lands such as Greater Tipra land for the indigenous Tripuri people and Kamatapur for the Kutch people. I wanted to ask, why do you think these things have emerged again, creating mayhem in the entire region, and how can this issue be addressed by our national government? Thank you.
I think Padut can pick it up. See, this question again, make it shorter. Or I will stop it on one more.
So, that's a very good question that you've asked. See, problems, when they're not addressed, samasya ka agar hal nahi hota hai, then it lingers on. And when you feel a sense of discrimination, then it always comes back. So it's like an injury. If you don't allow it to heal, then the injury will again come back and it will be twice as bad. The issue, I know about the Kamtapur movement as well, but let me come back to the Tipra land movement. If CA did not happen, if our demand for NRC, which is still in the Supreme Court, did not happen, we probably would not have come back and said that we want Tipraland. The fact was that both parties at that moment, the Congress party, which I was a president of in the state, as well as the BJP, which brought in the bill, did not want to address it because they thought that the tribal people, if you gave them some money, if you told them some projects, bridge ban gaya, road ban gaya, then they'll be satisfied. You cannot satisfy the, language. We want to speak in our mother tongue. We are told, no, you'll have to read and write in another language. Now, you know how Bangladesh was created? When Pakistan tried to impose Urdu on the people of East Pakistan. Now today, how would those people who actually broke away from Pakistan because they wanted to speak in their mother tongue, if they want to impose the same language on us? So these are things which are important. These cannot be undone with economic packages, announcements in Delhi. So this demand has come because we felt that injustice was happening. Forest bill was passed, there was encroachment happening, delimitation is happening. So these were factors why this movement has come about. Even today, we are willing to listen to the government of India if they come out with something which is a better idea than us. I am not saying this is my stance and this will be my stance forever. If they have a better idea, they're such wise people sitting in South Block, sitting in Rashtrapati Bhavan, sitting in the Prime Minister's office, opposition leaders who are walking across India, right? If they have a better idea, my friends, if they have a better idea, we are willing to talk to them. But you don't come and talk to us. You say, join my party, then we'll talk to you. How can that be the solution? That is what my problem is. That's why we are going ahead with this movement.
Stuti Silasoikya, be quick, and then I will also ask Porismita Koleta to get ready for the next question.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is for Mr. Sanjay Hazarika. It's true that we often face racial discrimination, but we also practice the othering phenomenon through our discourses. Sir, my question to you is, what can we do to move beyond it as a community and promote a culture of tolerance through dialogue? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Actually, I was going to speak to some of the younger people here in this room who are now residents of Delhi. Let me put it in a short perspective, Mrinal. I know you're looking at the time. But some things can't be rushed too much. One thing is that you've all come here because you have aspirations. All of us came to Delhi with aspirations at one time in our lives. We're also like you. You may look at our gray beards and say, oh, this guy's too old or whatever. But we're also like you at one point. And I think what's important to understand, in the community in Delhi, over the past 10, 20 years, issues which were unspoken of are being spoken about. Issues which were tolerated are not being tolerated anymore. If anybody uses racist phrases or abusive behavior, you can actually take them to the police. And the police, there's a special unit of the police for the Northeastern students and Northeastern people. I don't know how effective it is now, but it has been fairly effective in the past. And communities, we worked on this for a long time when I was here. Communities also are better understanding of their rights. There are more people who are professional, lawyers, academics. There are something like 80 or 90 professors and assistant professors in the universities and colleges of Delhi from the region. I think that's extraordinary. And I think that's a huge achievement. So what we need to do is, when there are these times of difficulty and stress in our homelands, and I'm not saying homeland, but homelands, then we should be able to reach out and have conversations with people. Like, it's not something to seek a solution for, but it is necessary to have a conversation. Not a dialogue even, just a conversation to find out what's happening. Because that often impacts people when they are here, with the stress at home and what is and they're not able, a sense of helplessness. So I think that it's remarkable what has been achieved by the northeastern community in Delhi, by the Assamese community, by the northeastern communities, because they have come together to raise their voices against discrimination, force the government to change the law, and that I think has been an extraordinary achievement. Don't rest on that. Change is constant. You have to constantly engage. You constantly build on the past and achieve for the future. I hope that answers your question. But one thing, and Mrinal will, and Sumit and others and other friends who are older, will remember this. Remember one thing. You may be the aspirational generation, but a generation before you, not just in Assam, but elsewhere, was fighting against the Indian state. So what you're doing is engagement. That is a remarkable thing. Despite discrimination, despite harassment, despite being treated differently, you are still engaging every day. That takes courage, and that is remarkable, and I salute everybody for doing it.
Boris Mehta.
During the session, Samujal sir talked about the AFSPA Act. So my question is regarding acts like this. Like, do you think that the AFSPA Act or acts like these threaten the freedom of speech of the Northeastern people and are used by the central government or the rest of the India to keep the people of Northeast in check?
Boris Mehta, can I direct a question to Sanjay Hazarika, because he was a member of that panel also, which looked after that.
I was on the committee that reviewed the Armed Forces Special Powers Act under the previous government, and we had recommended the revocation, the repeal, because we said it's an act that leads to the, it's become a law that is hated in the region, apart from anything else. So now you have a situation where I'm sure the Chief Minister, when he comes, will also probably speak about it. They're lifting AFSPA from across Assam. Most of the districts don't have it, but now remaining ones will be lifted. It's also been lifted in a few more stations in Manipur and for the first time in Nagaland. But the point is, AFSPA is still on the statute books. It's being removed from the state does not mean it has been repealed. So it's still on the sidelines waiting to enter the door. So anytime the situation gets out of hand, okay, it's understandable, we can do that. But it doesn't just, you see, it's not a question of freedom of expression. It's a question of a right to life. It deprives, it has the potential and has in the past deprived people of the right to life. So without the right to life, we can't speak. So that's why I've always believed that a law like this, which the Manipur MP in the 1950s when it was being piloted in Parliament said this is a lawless law and it should not pass. But it passed and it's remained on the statute books for now nearly 60 odd years, nearly 70 years.
Thanks.
So it needs to go.
There's a difference between removal and repeal. I'm signing off this session with a question which has come from someone, I do not know the name, not given, directed to Samujal Bhattacharya, but very, very pertinent. I am taking the question on behalf of whoever has sent it. Straight, Supreme Court is hearing 51-71 debate sometime from now. What is your take? Single line. 51-71, Supreme Court starting the new hearing. Cut off here.
Assam Accord.
71.
Very clear. Because after 6 years long movement, that historic Assam movement was signed to settle this vexed foreign national problem permanently. So we are for Assam Accord.
Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. Thank you, Mr. Samuel, Pradyut, and Sanjay Hazarika. And
Can I interrupt again? Half second only. Half second. Because
I'm giving the half minute.
Sanjay Hazarika Sahab, he has expressed his mind. I have a submission, and I'd like to tell the government also. So there should be a bilateral agreement in between the government of India and government of Bangladesh to safeguard the identity of the indigenous people of Northeast from the influx of illegal Bangladeshis. That is number one. And we have a resentment and in our mind. The Manipur Ghatna hoi gol, Pradhan Montriye 1 ছেকেণ্ড কথা ক'বলৈ সময় নাপালে আৰু এইখন চৰকাৰ দীঘলীয়া হৈ গ'ল কিন্তু আমাৰ খিলঞ্জীয়া মানুহৰ পৰিচয় ৰক্ষাৰ কাৰণে বাংলাদেশৰ চৰকাৰৰ লগত দ্বিপাক্ষিক চুক্তি কৰিবলৈ সময় নাপালে আমি ইতিবাচকভাৱে ধৰিছোঁ আৰু আমি ভাবোঁ যে এই কামখিনি সোনকালে কৰাটো উচিত
ধন্যবাদ জনাইছোঁ থেংক ইউ উপগ্ৰহ থেংক চেমুৱেল সমুদ্ৰদা সঞ্জয় দা সকলোকে ধন্যবাদ জনাইছোঁ আৰু এই চেচন পৰিমাণতে অন্ত পৰিছে এতিয়া আহাৰ বিৰতি তাৰপিছতেই ইণ্ডিয়া ভাৰ্চেছ NDA যিটো অত্যন্ত আকৰ্ষণীয় চেচন আছে সকলোকে সেই চেচনটোলৈ অপেক্ষা কৰিবলৈ অনুৰোধ জনাইছোঁ ধন্যবাদ